Hi, my name is Joanna Whitney. I am an intuitive artist and a student of natural law. And I'm going through the formal consensus book right now. And um, I'm I just did a rant video that if you want to watch it, you can. I'm not going to publicize it, but um, I cleared my head, cleared my palate so that I could delve back into the book here. I'm on page 79. And there's been a lot going on social media that's been extremely stressful. And I had said in the last two videos that I was going to really try to restrain myself. And I have restrained myself, but I can't stay off of it. And I think it's because I'm lonely and I want to connect with like-minded people. So I go on there, but it's like not working at all. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And I just hope that the group will take me up on my suggestion, which is that we meet once a week in a park or on a mutual property that we usually meet at. And that we use, like, the pages in this book from page 22 to 26, the principles that are discussed. And we use a talking stick and manners, and we start talking to each other face to face and hashing this stuff out face to face, and let go of the social media thing. And I did also go into a little bit about how much time we have left, until 2030. Hopefully we're on time. I'm going to hope to God that we're on time. I'm just going to go back to page 22 for a minute and just run through these principles again. So if we were to meet face to face at a park and use a talking stick and use these principles, these would be the principles that we would use as a basis for our communication face to face. They are trust, respect, unity of purpose. So we would have to kind of figure out, each of us would have to kind of figure out why we were doing it. And to me, we'd be doing it because we have 7 years until 2030. And it's important that we bond in unity so that we can create a parallel system for ourselves that we can live in face of whatever the globalists are going to try to impose upon us. So unity of purpose, nonviolence. You see, I've been experiencing a lot of violence on social media, a lot of doublespeak where it's said that, we're in a free community, but then only certain people's voices are allowed. And there is a king, who can press the button at any time. But then we're told that, feel free to say whatever you want. But then we're told, oh, you're not free. Dissenters will be, obliterated or whatever. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is not freedom, This is complete and total tyranny. We're still in it. So, and it's all violent. Like, anytime another person's rights are violated, that's violence, force. Just to look at this for a moment, force is my right to self-defense. I have a right to defend myself against violence. That's not violence. In the 60s, there were the pacifists, right? The pacifists gave up their right to defend themselves. That's a violation of natural law. I have the right to stand up for myself in the face of someone trying to push their ideology on me. I have the absolute right under natural law to stand up for myself. And I can use natural law and end up being killed, but someone just said recently that there's a difference between, I'm not going to be able to just say this, am I? Living on your knees or dying on your feet. Yeah, I'm not willing to live on my knees. I'd rather die on my feet. And so the universe is going to support me in using force against violence, someone trying to violate my rights, my right to free speech, my right to my own way of worshiping, my right to freely assemble. I have inalienable rights. You can see this in nature. You can see animals freely assembling, migrating wherever the heck they want. They have the freedom to travel. They have the freedom to speak freely. This is all inherent rights that I have here on Earth, and people in my own community are trying to violently take those away from me. Okay, in the group, nonviolence. Like, each person is equal and has the right to have their point of view, whether they're agreed with or not. This is about freedom. Self-empowerment would be another principle in the group, where you learn how to self-govern using your inner monarchy, rather than give somebody who's a good talker your power. Cooperation, which we were just talking about that. Conflict resolution, like, we're not resolving our conflict, but we would, if we were face to face, we would learn how to resolve conflict together. Commitment to the group, where you put the group's needs ahead of your own in a non-communistic way. That's a different way to look at it. Active participation, meaning you don't sit quietly and then talk about each other behind each other's backs. You actually express yourself. Equal access to power. That means one person doesn't have the ability to just press a button and delete people if they want to in a face-to-face group. Patience. Consensus cannot be rushed. Well, I mean, if we were meeting in a group, we wouldn't be necessarily making a decision. In the beginning, we would just be talking to each other, trying to come up with what's most important. But still, patience would be required, because of a lot of us, just want to, when we get together face to face, we're just trying to get something accomplished. But the most important thing to me would be that we would, say a prayer to the Creator non-denominationally, so that all people are included, and the mother earth, nature, and the sky. And then we would ask for guidance for the highest good of all concerned, and then we would have a conversation with each other and see where it led, using a talking stick. Impediments to consensus: lack of training in consensus, external hierarchical structures that we're all mind controlled into, and social prejudice. Meaning, like, there's some super Christians in the group that are afraid of those of us who don't read the Bible, but still consider ourselves to be spiritual. Like, there's some extreme social prejudices that I've recently noticed. But again, it goes back to our inalienable rights. Like, we all have the right to worship as we choose, and not to be like vilified for how we worship in a freedom group. I mean, it's incredible to me. So whoops, what happened? I don't know. I'm going to go back to page 69 here. That was my proposal, that we meet, 79, page 79. That we meet in person once a week at a park, not worry about food or anything like that. Just maybe, start at like 6 o'clock or 5, whenever people get out of work or whatever, and go until we're done, or until people want to leave or whatever. Or make it a time limit, and then have debates. If people want to debate certain topics, which are being debated online, we could do it as a real debate, where there's an audience, and people use the trivium to formulate their debate topics. It could be far out and fantastic. I'm going back now to page 79. So the fundamental difference between consensus and voting is one of cooperation and competition. So do we want to stay in competition, or do we want to start to cooperate? This affects the structure of the process as well as the attitude of the participants. Consensus fosters an environment in which everyone is respected and all contributions are valued. All right, consensus fosters an environment in which everyone is respected and all contributions are valued. Isn't that freedom right there, where everyone can have their point of view, even if many people disagree with it. I mean, just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean you have to beat them to death until they agree with you. I mean, why? Why can't you just allow disagreement? I mean, in another group that I'm a member of, it's considered healthy tension when there is disagreement, because it keeps people on their toes. It keeps you from slipping into complacency, because you have to constantly review your point of view, or maybe you have to change your point of view. Maybe somebody brings a different point of view that makes you have to reevaluate how you think or whatever, instead of slipping into complacency and just wandering off mentally into, shopping or something. I mean, that seems to be what the society wants us to do. They want to provide us with rules, and then so that we can just distract ourselves. But the thing is we're destroying the planet right now. Our using technology the way we are right now, and is just, the planet's being destroyed. Animals are going extinct right now because of what we're doing. It's not how I want to be living. I want to live in concert with nature, not in opposition to nature. And I'm not interested in stealing all of nature's resources for some kind of weird capitalism. It's just not how I want to live. I can't believe everyone wants to live like that either. But somebody has to set an example for something else, and that's what I'm about. Creative resolution of all concerns contributes to the overall quality of the decision. Voting encourages competition, often without regard to others' concerns, since its goal is the winning of the most votes. Usually, using majority rule risks alienation and apathy within the group. I feel that, in this online group. I feel like there is competition. I feel like there is majority rule, and I'm not in the majority. I keep thinking I should just delete myself and get the hell away from there. But I do need to read certain things on there to know what's going on. So I just wish we would come together face to face and start doing this for real. Consensus requires a different kind of attitude toward conflict and its resolution. Conflict is considered necessary, welcomed, and desirable, not something to be avoided, repressed, or feared. So, that would be so fantastic. I mean, we're having so much conflict right now, and if it was welcomed and desirable rather than avoided, repressed, or feared. I mean, basically, I've been threatened. Like I've seen subtle comments, which I know are geared towards me, that if I continue to express myself, I'll just be deleted. And I don't want to be deleted, because I need access to know what's going on so that I can meet face to face with people. And also, being that I'm on the board of the barter market, I need to be able to advertise the barter market. That's my job in the group to do that. And so I need access to the group. So I have to I basically have to shut up and not express myself. I don't consider that freedom at all. I feel like I'm being repressed. My conflict, because I don't agree with certain people in there, is to avoid, to repress myself, and to fear, and to be in fear. Its resolution is achieved through creativity and cooperation. The group strives to create an environment in which disagreement can be expressed without fear and heard as a concern, which, when resolved, will make the decision stronger. I mean, as I was reading that, I even saw us all painting together, and how that would be so amazing, how that would, we could resolve so many things just by painting together, the group, I'm going to just reread that because it's so, it could make the decision stronger if we could work together. This is what freedom is about. You know, I mean, think about it. The spark of life is in each and every one of us. So no one is wrong. The challenge is to unify, to learn how to have all the dissenting views come together in a melting pot and create something greater than the sum of its parts. Stone soup. This attitude opposes our socialized attitude towards conflict. It is challenging to invite conflict into our discussions. Creation of a cooperative, supportive environment will require tolerance and a willingness to experiment. In the early stages, this might prove to be difficult. Pent-up frustrations and unexpressed angers based upon concerns that were never before allowed to be expressed will surface. However, if groups stay with this process, they will be rewarded with improved group dynamics, more creative solutions, and greater trust and respect. I don't think it can be done on social media, honestly, which is why I hoped that someday a group of people will want to meet weekly to hash this stuff out. And I'm sure it will be quick. I'm pretty sure it would be quick. Although I still believe that we are traumatized, and maybe this process of just talking to each other and whatever evolved out of it would be the healing of the trauma that we need. But I don't see it happening on social media. I'm just going to pent-up frustrations and unexpressed angers based upon concerns that were never before allowed to be expressed will surface. I mean, that's totally happening, right? Since the skills and techniques necessary for consensus process are not readily taught in our society, it is unreasonable to expect any group to be able to use consensus without first taking the time to learn it, which is what we would have to do. I mean, this is just what I'm totally into. I don't know, I guess other people aren't into it. It is also important to recognize that not only do new skills, techniques, and language need to be learned, but in addition, the old habits of competitiveness, defensiveness, and possessiveness inherent in parliamentary procedure need to be unlearned. Wow, is that where we got it from? Competitiveness, defensiveness, and possessiveness. Specific attention must be given to the fact that almost all of us have been taught to behave in these ways, and this undermines our ability to use consensus or be in consent with one another, be unified. For this reason, the consensus process, known as formal consensus, was created. Formal consensus employs a clearly defined yet flexible structure, a rigid agenda, contract, and strong facilitation. Often groups use consensus without ever agreeing upon a particular way of using it. Yeah, we've done that. Therefore, from week to week and month to month, the process changes without conscious effort. This can lead to frustration and manipulation. If the process is not clearly defined, access to decision-making can be very difficult for members, especially new members. In any given meeting, if the agenda is not honored as a rigid contract, earlier items will get an unfair amount of the meeting's time, and later items will be shortened, possibly missed altogether. The same thing can happen within one agenda item. During discussion, one idea or one person can dominate the time, not allowing the other ideas or all members an opportunity to be heard. That's happening on social media, okay? A strong facilitator can recognize this and apply facilitation techniques that more fairly distribute the attention of the group. It should be noted that while a facilitator may be powerful with regard to process, the facilitator should not be involved with or comment on the content of any particular agenda item. If this happens, the facilitator should step out of the role, right? I mean, there's a lot to this, you know, because like I'll just give myself as an example. Okay, as a member of the barter currency board, I've placed myself in a position of public, so I have to be more conscious of what I do. I want to try to be walk my talk, you know, in order to keep the credibility for the currency going. So in other words, if somebody's the facilitator, they have to be able to maintain neutrality with regards to the issues that come up. Formal consensus is efficient and effective. It provides a clearly defined structure so that even the most complicated decision can be calmly and timely. But to accomplish this, it also requires training and discipline. Formal consensus is nonviolent, democratic, based upon the group's principles, better in larger groups, better when everyone participates, not inherently time-consuming, and cannot be secretly disrupted. That is the structure of this process reveals. Oh, that is the structure of this process reveals hidden agendas. All right, that's all I'm going to read right now. And I really like, I might really download that book that was brought up here, M. Scott Peck. That might be the next book that I use to talk about. And I'm looking forward to the day when I can stop making these videos because we're actually doing it. So that's all for today.